Hey everybody, this is a SOMIFA 28 semifinal playoff game between the San Diego Chargers, coached by Paul Mankiewicz, half man, half Mankiewicz, and Nathan Baylor's Los Angeles Rams. The Rams and the Chargers were the number 2 and number 3 seeds. The Chargers finished 13-3, and the Rams were 12-3-1. So here we go. It's the kick 8 yards deep in the end zone, and we are underway. Make sure I hit start broadcast. Yep, looks good. The Rams will get the ball first. They've got Dak Prescott, Lamar Miller, Rob Gronkowski, Sammy Watkins, and Odell Beckham Jr. So they are loaded for bear, as are the Chargers. Both these teams were going for the year. Crossing pattern to Watkins, single cover by a 4. 3-man zone, it's a 14-yard pickup as Sammy Watkins has a very good receiver card. I think he's a 4.56, so good short, great deep, and so-so on the flats. Prescott, of course, has a premium card this set. Jaron Reed is the other tight end to go with Gronk. Screen pass left to Lamar Miller. Guessed right again. It's 5 yards on Dak's card, and it'll be a 2nd and 5. So Paul has a lot of 4s on defense. He went really heavy on offense. I think he's one of the – he just kept loading up on stud running backs. So he won't run out of carries. We'll look at his offense in a bit. Curl to Odell Beckham Jr. Incomplete on the receiver card. So we have the Rams sport a good – oh, I'm sorry. Everybody's – this is SOMIFA. What are you talking about, Dennis? It's average for the visitor and average good for the home team. This is not a double counting league. This is my league. I should know that. 3rd and 5. Dak goes to the 3-wide formation with Gronk as the blocking back. 3-wide receiver, 1 fullback. It's early, folks. Well, it's actually not even that early. It's 10 o'clock here on the West Coast. But my coffee hasn't quite kicked in yet. Oh, we got some slow action going on. Maybe some substitution going on there. Slanted Jordan Reed, incomplete. So a lot of people don't like the, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but some people have made comments to me about the disparity in the playoff cards or the pass defense cards in the playoffs. But it really, even the difference between average and good is not that impactful, to be honest. So I think it's like a perfect example there. 4-man in zone average card, lots of chances for blanks there, and Paul was able to get Nathan's offense off the field. Now let's take a look at the Chargers offense. They got LaShawn McCoy. That's one of the stud running backs I was talking about. Joe Flacco's got a pretty good card this set. Off tackle left to McCoy. It's a guessed wrong, and there's nobody in the zone. Offensive onside guard +7 or +2. That side of the line has 2-4 blockers. Alex Boone is the guard, and the tackle is Greg Robinson. So Paul's got some shortcomings, even despite having a team that has done very well this year. Was the number 2 seed, going 13-3. It's all been offensive numbers. Cameron Braid is the blocking back there. Greg Olsen, the tight end. Alshon Jeffrey, 1 wide receiver, and Jordy Nelson, the other. Just a lot of good offensive pieces. Slant to Greg Olsen, single cover by 5, 3-man in zone. It's a dump off for 10 yards. So that's one area that Paul's going to have to be concerned with, the two pass blocking of Greg Robinson. He's got Joe Thomas, Joe Berger, Ryan Khalil, Alex Boone, and Greg Robinson. So I wouldn't, Paul has a really strong set of running backs, some really good pieces. Off tackle left to McCoy, but I'm not sure if he was really just going for the year only. Offensive onside guard picks up 2 again as Alex Boone can't make the block. It looks like he was building, getting as many skilled pieces there as he could, and his offense has carried him this year. Fly to Jordy Nelson against the run call. 1 man in zone, guessed wrong, and it's incomplete. Flacco has let's look at this long pass card. He's got an 8 guessed wrong on long pass, or on a long pass, 8 guessed wrong is a long gain. Take a quick peek before this play goes off. So that's like he has a really big disparity between guessed right and guessed wrong, because he goes from pretty high interception chance on 10 with to 6 chances right, or 5 chances right, to having 2, 3, 6, 11, like 13. So that's a big difference, and the interception split goes way down. Short pattern of Braid being double covered, that's going to be incomplete. Flacco's card short is pretty good, guessed wrong. Guessed right, it's got a lot of blanks, but that would have been a completion if he wouldn't have been double teamed. So nice call there by Nathan. 4th and 8, and they'll punt. Fair caught by Odell Beckham. You see Paul's got a 9, or a long gain on 12. Some good numbers on 6 and 7 too for the opponent punt return. Beckham has a 10. On 7 and 8 for the opponent punt return. Beckham's got a 10 on 6, and 2 is plus 19. Fly to Beckham. Speaking of the devil, covered by a 4. And here comes the pass rush. It's a sack, fumble, strip, but it's recovered by Dak as Clinton McDonald beats Larry Warford. A 6 against a 5. He only had a 27% chance of a sack. The random number was a 2. One additional pass rusher was coming, but that was just Clinton McDonald's 5 against Larry Warford's 5. It got bumped up to a 6 thanks to the pass rush. The weak pass blocker on the Rams line is Riley Reef. He's a 4-4. Warford's a 5 pass blocker. Lindsey's a 4. Long's a 7. And Villanueva's a 4. We started this league this year drafting from scratch. You're not gonna have a stud at every position. 3-3-5 showing blitz. Paul's going all out. He brings in 0-6 Nick Fairley. It's a draw to Lamar Miller. Offensive left guard +6 or +1. So Nathan decided not to test him deep there. He certainly has the weapons to do that, even against an all-out blitz. So, like I said, that may be one area where Paul will try to take advantage. But Brooks Reed is not a great defensive end. That would be a great spot to have somebody. But he does have pass rush coming from the linebackers. Lorenzo Alexander is a 4-5, 12 with an 8 asterisk. And he's got Jerry Hughes on the other side, 0-0-9. He's 3-3-5 showing blitz again. Bringing everybody. It's a fly to Beckham covered by a 4. Defender extra +29. It is going to be a incomplete pass as Jason McCourty makes the play. Whoa, my goodness. That could have been a big play there, as it was 46% chance of a sack, Jerry Hughes against Larry Warford, but the random roll was a 76. 51-yard punt, coffin corner. That must mean Paul's got somebody that Nathan's worried about. Let's take a quick peek at his punt return. Oh, yeah, he definitely has somebody he's worried about. His name's Tyreek Hill. Touchdown on 3. So I wonder if he'll kick it out of bounds every time or attempt to. 1st and 10 at the 39. That field position could, play a big part in this one. Bomb to Jeffrey, single cover by a 5, one man in zone, guessed wrong. And there's that Flacco guessed wrong long pass card, but it hit the blank. Flacco off to a slow start, 1 for 4 for 10 yards so far, and that was on a dump off. Second and 10. So Nathan's, respecting LaShawn McCoy. It's a draw to McCoy, guessed wrong. The flats are flooded. It's a plus 11. It could have been plus 21 if he would have ran to the other side, but he wanted the support of that 6th offensive tackle. The 6th offensive tackle, Joe Thomas. So Freeman was still in the zone. If he had ran it over here, Denzel Perryman has shifted outside, and that would have been add another 10 yards to that run. But as it is, 1st and 10 at the 50. McCoy's 3 runs for 15 yards. Curl to Jordy Nelson. Some heat coming, 3-minute zone, and the heat does come. It brings down Flacco. Jabal Sheard up against Greg Robinson. Remember that is one of the weakest spots. You won't really see a 13-win team often have a 4-2 at left tackle, but this is a 2018 league. He brings in Gary Gilliam, who's a 0-4. Maybe you should just start Gilliam. Forget about subbing him in. A 0-4 against a 4-5 is a lot better matchup for Paul. He goes 4 wide. Tyreek Hill and Des Bryant checking in. Des Bryant, that was a 64% chance of a sack, by the way. The random was 57. You see it here. I'm highlighting it. Des Bryant hurt me in a playoff game the other day. Hit his plus 50 on a guessed right receiver reading. It's a crossing pattern to Bryant, and it's an 11-yard gain. That'll bring up 3rd and 6. And the Chargers are into the Rams territory. You can line up Tyreek Hill because he's got a halfback card on these 3rd down and 6, 3rd down and long yardage situations, and you have an extra target there that can go deep. It's good flat, guessed wrong. He can't really run it with this rule set unless it's like 3rd down and 1 or 2 because he has less than 25 carries. But he's got a really sweet card if he decides to try him in those spots. But it's really hard because then those are the spots you expect to run call, and guessed right, he's terrible. Guessed wrong, lots and lots of short gains. 3-3-5 showing blitz. Gilliam's in the game, replacing Greg Robinson. He goes for a crossing pattern to Bryant. Guessed right. 3-minute zone. Or 4-minute zone, excuse me. And it's incomplete. Oh, a deep pass there. The zone was vacated. Let's take a quick look. Even against the good pass defense, I think a 3 is defender X or plus 32. Would have been incomplete, but it would have put a little bit of a scare into Nathan. Paul will punt here on 4th and 6. It's a coffin corner, and it's going to go out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. The Rams will start at their own 2. We're more than halfway through the first quarter, and there's no score. Remember, the Chargers have Tyreek Hill as their punt returner, so inside run to Lamar Miller. If the Rams can't get a few first downs here, he might not be able to kick it out of bounds. He might just have to take his chances and hope that Hill hits a bad number. 2nd and 4. The winner of this game goes on to face the Dallas Cowboys. Off tackle left to Lamar Miller. Guessed right. Picks up 2. It'll be 3rd and 2. Going to face the Dallas Cowboys, who went 15-1 in the regular season. They're coached by Joe Hamrahi, I think is. Well, I'm not sure. Joe, tell us how to pronounce your name. I know for sure that Michael was pronouncing it wrong because he was calling you Hamachi. So Hamrahi, one of those two, I think is how it's pronounced. Hamrahi. I have to go look and See if I can figure it out. Off tackle left to Miller. Guessed right again. Loses a yard. So nice call there by Paul. That would have been still wouldn't have been a first down. Guessed wrong, but guessed wrong. He had first downs on everything except 3 and 5. So they will have to punt. It is a coffin corner punt still. So he's going to just kick it out of bounds and not mess with Tyreek Hill no matter what. First and 10. Pitch out right to McCoy. Guess right. Picks up 4. Boo. Guess wrong. That would have been 22 yards. Down at the bottom on an end run guessed wrong are the really big hits. Long gain on 11 plus 75 on 12. Second and 6. You can run McCoy guessed right. He'll move the chains for you, but guess wrong is when he has those really big hits. And remember, he's got backup there. Quick into Cameron Brate. McCoy being keyed. It's a 13-yard pickup, a first down, and the Chargers are nearing field goal range. They are 2 through 6 in this range. 2 through 10 once again inside the 32. Quick slant to Olsen. There's a 6 linebacker there. Guessed right. Picks up 7. Olsen's one of those receivers that has hits on double teamed. Tough to stop him. Flacco heating up his last 2 passes. 3-4 showing blitz on 2nd and 3. David Johnson, one of the other stud running backs that Paul took, is in the game. Great receiver, solid running back as well. Quick out right to Olsen. Free safety's coming on a blitz. And it's a white die 6, picks up 9. That'll be first and 10 at the 20. McCoy back in there. You bring in somebody like David Johnson, you get, maybe people are less inclined to double team Greg Olsen or Jordy Nelson or Alshon. It's a curl to Jordy. Single covered, 4-man in zone. Incomplete on Flacco's card. Second and 10. First quarter is nearing an end. Just a minute left. Minute and a half. 3-4 showing blitz on 2nd and 10. Curl to Jordy Nelson being double covered by a linebacker, I believe. And it's picked off. There was only 3 men in zone, but intercepted there by Trumaine Johnson. Big play there by Nathan as Paul was nearing the end zone, and he stops him. So here we go, first and 10. At the 5, 4-3 defense, not showing blitz. You have that in a playoff game a little bit in the first quarter, kind of feeling each other out. Quick into Gronk. Picks up 8 guessed wrong as the linebacker, even though he gets past the linebacker that was covering him, had moved. That is Lorenzo Alexander. Nathan, knowing that Paul wanted to maximize his chance for a sack, it's an inside run to Lamar Miller. Guess wrong. That's a first down on 2nd and 2, a 9-yard pickup. So knowing that he was going to bring Lorenzo Alexander to hopefully get an asterisk reading or put pressure on one of the other matchups, pitch out right to Lamar Miller. It's a run call. Defensive end -2 or +3. That loses 2 yards. Brooks Reed in its 4 rating makes the play. We are now officially into the second quarter. Not showing blitz. The Gronk versus Lorenzo Alexander matchup is going to be, interesting this game. Bomb to Watkins. It's a must run for 9 yards. He was bringing Alexander again on that one to put the pressure on, and he shifted the free safety down to the zone to cover it. 3rd and 3. When you have, you have a decent quarterback, and you have a bunch of fours covering your guys, you're going to have a tendency to want to air it out a little bit more. That's incomplete. White die 6. See, like one of those, that play would have been defender X or long gain on a long pass. Uh-oh, we got a block punt. You can always tell when the reading doesn't come up. San Diego's recovered. They try to advance it, and the ball is stripped. As hustling back was Rob Gronkowski. He stripped the guy who blocked the punt, Kavari Russell, and then scooped him up himself. So huge play by Gronk. That would have been huge. It was like a turnover in the red zone, but the Rams avoid it. How often can all these fours on defense force a stop against this high-powered offense of the Rams? That would have been huge right there to hold on to the ball. But I understand why you return it, because that's one of the situations on a block punt, a strip sack. You have a lot greater chance of advancing it. Incomplete there, guess right. Again, I think we saw Lorenzo Alexander coming. I think you're going to see a few more bombs here as Nathan figures out that Paul's willing to take risks and leave guys open, leave zones open. Far left to Gronk. So he tries to throw to him knowing that he's moving Alexander. This time he stays home, but even with that, it's a 9-yard pickup on the receiver reading. Paul can't just double team Gronk every time. You've got Beckham, Watkins, both maxed long. Curl to Beckham. There you go. He's doubling Gronk, but you get a dump off for a short gain. That's a first down for the Rams. It's not often that a block punt is going to get you, be a benefit to your team, but that time it worked out because they fumbled the return, and now the Cowboys are moving. Fly to Beckham. I told you that he's going to try to take some shots. That's incomplete. Lorenzo Alexander was coming, and he was matched up against Gronk. If he had been trying to throw it to Gronk, that would have been one of those. Well, may have shifted over to Lamar Miller to do the blocking. Quick slant to Jordan Reed. Gronk getting doubled again. It's a 4-yard pickup. Guessed right on Dak's card. 3rd and 6. Big third down here for the Chargers. They want to try to get the Rams off the field. Sammy Coates checks into the game as the 3rd wide receiver, really replacing Lamar Miller as Gronk stays in the game. So you've got prime targets. Every one of those targets is great. All covered by fours. Not showing blitz. Who are you going to double? Will he go deep? Will he go short? Will he go flat? Reed and Gronk are great flat. Coates, Beckham, Watkins, and Gronk are all great long. Reed can do it long, short, and flat. It's a short pattern to Gronk, and it's a dump off, but it's on the quarterback's card. On the defensive card, that would have been plus 30. So no asterisk pass rusher as Lorenzo Alexander stayed home since he was doubling Gronk. He wanted it to be a true double team and not just a shift of coverage. And the Rams will punt again. I kind of expected to see a shootout in this one, but so far it's been a defensive battle. The red zone turnovers have, hurt. Score out left to Jordy Nelson. White die 6 picks up 13. Both quarterbacks have been a little hit and miss. Knowing that you'll get a lot of run calls, and with Flacco's great disparity, guessed wrong on long pass, you might see some shots here by Paul as well. Off tackle left. There's a man in the zone. Offensive onside tackle +6 or +1. This time, Greg Robinson makes the play. So much for me advocating for Michael Schofield to check in and be the, or Gary Gilliam, excuse me, one of those 0-4 tackles, backup tackles. Gilliam would not have made the block on that one. Robinson did. So here we go, 2nd and 4, nearing midfield again. Off tackle right to David Johnson, who checked into the game. Offensive nose tackle +8 or +35, and he's beaten Quan Short, who's a 6 rated defensive tackle, but moves down to a 5 as a nose tackle. Can't make the play. And David Johnson, with his first carry of the game, it's an impactful one as he gets 35 yards. And that brings up 1st and 10 inside the 20. Last time the Chargers were here, they turned the ball over. Pitch out right to McCoy. There's a 4 defensive in there, +22, guessed wrong, and that's a touchdown, 17-yard run as McCoy hits an edge, and the Chargers take the lead 7-0 after the extra point by Will Lutz, and the Chargers are up. Chargers do have the better defensive pass card, but as we saw, their defensive ratings on the numbers there make them susceptible to giving up the big play. The question is, when will we see that defensive end -2 or +3? Brooks Reed can't make the play this time, but it's only a 3-yard gain. So when will we see Nathan open it up a little bit? Paul will be less worried about the run game as long as he has the lead and more focused on stopping the pass. Crossing pattern to Watkins. And here comes the pass rush. Is it that man, Lorenzo Alexander? Yes, it was. Going up against Corey Lindsey, using his high linebacker rating, and boom, big play there by the Chargers. Third and 19. I guess I should share this link out. I don't know if anybody else is going to be available to watch live, but I'll share it out in case we can get somebody on. I missed the play. Sammy Coates was able to beat his defender X or short gain, but he only got 14 yards on 3rd and 19, and 4th and 5 means the Rams have to punt again. But it's a good thing he wasn't throwing deep, because that would have been an interception spot. This time Hill gets a chance to return it, and he returns it 10 yards. So the Chargers will take over at their 26. Pitch out right to McCoy. Guessed right, only gets 2. And you see Nathan worried about the flats. That's one of his best traits, are those flat pass readings. Guessed right and guessed wrong. Check it out. Really strong flat card. Short card's not great. Guessed right, but guessed wrong is pretty good. And when you have a guy like LaShawn McCoy, you're going to get more, and David Johnson, you're going to get more guessed wrong calls. Off tackle right to LaShawn McCoy, and it's again guessed right, but it hit the 11 on the average run defense card, 3-4. So Nathan's flooding the flats, but he's leaving the inside interior open, and that's susceptible to those chunk runs on 8. We'll see if he adjusts that a little bit and starts bringing a linebacker down. 1st and 10 out to the 39. It's a run. It's Jordy Nelson. I mean, it's a run call against a curl to Jordy Nelson. Defender X and the 5-rated Tremaine Brock makes the play. We got Dan Moore in here joining us. How you doing, Dan? Let me present my screen so it gets big for everybody. 2nd and 10. 4:30 to go in the half. The Chargers are driving. We've already seen them turn it over once in the red zone. And then when they blocked a punt, they gave it right back on trying to return it. Flare pass left to break 2-minute zone, but it goes on Flacco's card. Picks up 4, bringing up 3rd and 6. 3:54 to go in the half. Flacco 7 of 14 so far. So he hasn't really hit any big plays, but he's been a little bit better than Dak, who just can't seem to convert those 3rd downs so far. 3-3-5 showing blitz. It's a pass to Des Bryant. There's a free safety coming. It's going to be guessed right on Flacco's card and complete. So both these quarterbacks have been inconsistent, but both these coaches are very good defensive coaches. So that's kind of to be expected. Got a 13-yard return by Odell Beckham. And the Rams will start there at their own 25, trailing by a touchdown. See what kind of drive they can put together. Lamar Miller has 20 unfatigued carries left. Here's the long pass to Gronk. He's totally uncovered. Defender X would have been a long gain as Lorenzo Alexander went over to help double on Watkins. Like I said, this is going to be the story.
Hey, Dennis, I don't know if you can hear me, but your volume's not coming up on my iPhone or my PC.
Oh, thanks. I accidentally hit the mute button. How long was that going on for?
I want to say last 3.5 minutes after the Gronk long pass call.
Oh man, I must have got excited after that and pushed my
All
button.
right.
So here we go, 3rd and 5. Thanks for the heads up. Flare
All
left
right.
to Gronk. That loses a yard, so Paul will definitely call timeout here, and see what Tyreek Hill can do. So again, not against all these fours. You'd think that Nathan would get a lot more opportunities, but so far it hasn't happened. 45-yard punt out of bounds. That'll give the Chargers the ball with 37 seconds left. Not taking a chance with Tyreek Hill. They go 3 wide. One halfback 3 wide with Hill as the halfback. I don't know, with 2 timeouts left, I might want to see what LaShawn McCoy can do on the edges, or at least leave him in there getting Nathan to call run maybe. Hit a receiver reading, guessed wrong. But let's see what happens. This is quite a few good targets here for Paul. He is not showing blitz. Puts 2 deep, and this deep pass to Hill. And it's a dump off for 19 yards. So Paul getting the breaks here. He'll use a timeout there. And that was Gary Gilliam, who comes in on 3 wide sets for Greg Robinson. Now he goes back to the base set. Nathan stays 3-5. He has a timeout left, so he could run inside. But I would guess he's either going to run outside or try to get Nathan to call run and hit him deep or on a short pass or maybe a flat pass to get a guess wrong receiver reading. Brait has a pretty nice receiver card. Look for maybe a flat pass to Brait or a short pass or even a long pass to Brait, because Brait can go deep and he's covered by a 4. What will Nathan do? Or an in run to McCoy. It's an off tackle to McCoy. He's going to have to use that timeout after this, but let's see if he can get a big number. He only gets 4. He's looking for that plus 24 on 9, but instead he hit the 10. Has to use his timeout. 2nd and 6. If I remember right, Paul's got 2 through 6 out to the 40 with his field goal kicker. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, he's 2 through 6 out to the 40 with Will Lutz. He can try to run out of bounds here. If you don't make it, you're going to have to spike it and trot out Lutz if you don't get out of bounds. With 15 seconds left, that's when you can do one more play and a spike. It's an off-tackle right to McCoy. Guessed right. But there's nobody in the zone, and that picks up 4 yards. Oh, my goodness. If he had gone with a pass call, that would have been a long gain and possibly a touchdown. Paul will have to spike it here at the 36, and that'll give him a 2 through 6 field goal chance. Now he goes, hurry up. Oh, interesting. Oh, no, he did spike it. Yeah, so he'll bring out the field goal kicker here. Yep. It looked like he was going hurry up there because the offensive formation got automatically selected on my end, but that was just Paul waiting to select the field goal chance, and the field goal is no good. So that key there by the Rams saved at least 3 points, because that could have been a long game for less than 40 yards, in which case you would have had a spike and a field goal chance anyway. But that could have very well saved 7 points, because it could have been a long game for more than 40. Square into Coates. Picks up 11, and that's the end of the half. So a shutout. The Chargers are pitching a shutout. Let's take a look at the stats real quick. The Chargers have held the Rams to only 4 first downs. They've been 1 of 9 on third downs. The Chargers haven't been great on third downs either, 0 for 4. But they hit the big play, and they got some nice runs by McCoy to help balance that out. Looks like we're already underway there. Can't even give me a chance to comment on these stats. That's all right. You can understand why the Chargers want to get back to it. They got a 31-yard return by Cordell Patterson, and McCoy will get back at it. Post to Greg Olsen, being double covered by a linebacker, or no, by the free safety. The linebacker, if you saw the inside linebacker, had actually stuffed the linebacker and off tackle left zone. We haven't seen Nathan do a lot of that. He was doing a lot of flooding the flats. But a good double team there. It would have been incomplete anyway. We saw the long gain hit. Guessed right, it's on 4, not 5. Slant to Greg Olsen against the run call. So he goes right back to Olsen. Receiver reading for +15, and that's a first down for the Chargers. San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers. There we go. Last year we'll have to sing that song. Curl to Jordy Nelson, and it's guessed wrong. A 16-yard pickup. That would have been incomplete, guessed right. So you see the big difference between Flacco's guessed wrong and guessed right. You want a quarterback. If you have a quarterback like that, you want a strong running game. And Paul's got the best in the league with McCoy and David Johnson. And he's got somebody else too. Can't remember off the top of my head. Let's take a quick look. Chargers. Who's their third guy? Melvin Gordon, which doesn't have a great card this time. Keying McCoy on a crossing pattern to Jeffrey. And it's an 11-yard pickup. That would have been an 11-yard pickup guessed right. We would have had to double him to stop it. But suddenly, right, the Chargers are in, using a lot of guessed wrong passing to move the ball right down the field, and they have a 1st and 10 at the Rams 26. Rams got to hold him to a field goal here. He doesn't want to go down more than 2 scores. Short pattern to Brait. Single cover by 4, 3-man in zone. And it's a dump off. Incomplete. As it went to McCoy, and he could not haul it in. 2nd and 10. Nathan's been calling run. But this time he shows blitz. Maybe he's going to bring the house. Try to push him out of field goal range. Will Paul challenge him with a deep pass to Brait? Maybe go flat to McCoy. No, he goes square out left to Jordy Nelson. There's 2 men in zone. But again, it's on the quarterback's card. Picks up 4. 3rd and 6. Tyreek Hill checks in. If he goes for a flat pass, you can see he'll get it on the quarterback's card on a 3, 4, 7, and 12, and possibly one of the receiver readings. 3, 3, 5 showing blitz is how Nathan chooses to attack this. Brait's in the backfield in a fullback 3 wide set. Des Bryant, Jordy Nelson, Cameron Brait, Greg Olsen, Alshon Jeffrey, 5 pretty nice targets. It's a square into Jeffrey. There's a 6 linebacker there. So white die 6 is not going to help. Picks up 4 on the T card. And it was a 5 on the white die anyway. It would have been the same if he had gone to the other zones. So 4th and 2, out comes Will Lutz again. And Nathan did his job. Held it to a field goal chance. The kick is up. The kick is good. But the Rams are still within 2 touchdowns of taking the lead. This kick's 9 yards deep in the end zone. He'll take a knee, and it is going to be 1st and 10 Rams at their own 25. Real quick, who are the Rams, the big guys? If he runs out of carries with Lamar Miller, he has nobody really on the bench. Pitch out left to Miller. Juwan Harris is pretty terrible. Blocking back +3 or -3, and that loses 3 yards. Gronk's great, but if you have him as a blocking back, he's a 4-5. If he went to a second tight end, he would be a 6 on the other side. But then you lose the blocking back pass block ratings. Crossing pattern to Watkins. Single cover by a 4. Dak hits a blank. So Dak's struggling a bit today, despite having a bunch of fours to shoot out. But remember, Paul does have the good pass defense card. 3rd and 13 here. This is one of those frustrating games on offense where you can't seem to get anything going. Paul brings in his 7 pass rusher against Corey Linsley. That's Nick Fairley, who's a 4-7 defensive tackle, and run to Prescott. If it goes on the D card, it's not going to go anywhere, and it doesn't because there was a man in the zone. On the offensive cards, that would have been a big run there, as Prescott's got pretty good guessed wrong end run action. 51-yard punt, again going coffin corner out of respect for Tyreek Hill. And another 3 and out. Let's look at the ball possession chart. We've all had games like this. Look at that. Punt, 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 end of half punt. That is as bad as it gets. Quick slant to Greg Olsen. Now, some of that's Paul's making good calls, but some of it is just bad luck. He's hitting not hitting the right numbers. Paul is looking to go up 3 scores. At 17-yard completion with 2 men in zone. He called run. He had 2 guys there in the looking pass. Quick out right to Olsen. Double cover by an inside linebacker, so it's still guessed right on the quarterback's card. But it hit the 9 on the receiver reading, which allowed him to be guessed wrong, even though 2 men in zone. And Greg Olsen, he made hay. Chargers are now inside field goal range. 2nd and 3. My goodness, off tackle left to David Johnson. No matter what happens here, loses a yard there as Denzel Perryman's 5 run rating comes into play. No matter what happens, I don't think any of us saw this as a 13-0 game in favor of the Chargers midway through the 3rd quarter. It's hard to shut teams out, especially when they're 12-3-1 teams and you're in the playoffs. They're going to get some points. And I don't think Nathan thinks he's going to go the whole game without scoring, but it's been a pretty frustrating start. Bomb to Alshon Jeffrey. 0 men in zone covered by a 5, but boom. There's a huge play. K1 short against Ryan Khalil. Takes him out of field goal range. It's 2 through 6 out to the 40, but if he misses it here, then he gives Nathan the ball in good scoring range. That I think discretion is the better part of valor there. You might have been better going up with a flat pass or a run to maintain your field goal range and get you out to a 16-point lead at least. He goes for the coffin corner kick and pins him inside the 5. So now Nathan's in great shape here, not as far as field position, but he held off the Chargers from opening up a bigger lead, and we had that missed field goal by Lutz earlier. So that it could easily be 19-0 here is what I'm trying to say. Fly to Odell Beckham, double covered, incomplete. A run call there would have been a receiver reading. Let's look at so he had a missed field goal in the first half. Towards the end of the half, we saw that one. And if he would have been a little bit more conservative there and here, it would have been 19-0. But instead, still 13-0. 3rd and 10 now as that guessed right run, depending on the offensive onside guard, did not get the block from Kyle Long, who's a good pass blocker, not a great run blocker. So it's 3rd and 10. Not showing blitz, 3-2-6. He does have Nick Fairley in the game, knowing that Gronk can't run. Prescott could run a line buck, but you're not going to get 10 yards in a line buck very often. It's a square into Coates, guessed wrong, and 0 men in zone, excuse me. It would have been guessed wrong on the quarterback's card. But we'll see what happens. That was picked up 14 yards on the short gain, and that's exactly what Nathan needed to get out of that hole he was in. If he had gone for a deep pass there, that would have been picked off. So 1st and 10 out to the 18. You put together a scoring drive here, short pass to Gronk, single cover by a 4. You put together a drive here. You get a touchdown. Then you're down by 6. And all that momentum that was on the Chargers side is now gone. Of course, that's easier said than done. He's still got 71 yards to go. But that first down hit for 11 yards gets a little momentum going, gets Dak going, gets 2 back-to-back short, back-to-back impact completions. 6-yard run on a guess wrong end run by Lamar Miller. Well, Miller's got to get going too. He's only got 11 runs for 32 yards. This offense, which has been great all year, finally seems to be waking up. 3:54 to go in the third quarter. Crossing pattern to Watkins against the run call. Picks up 10, another first down. That's back-to-back first downs. It's the first time that's happened in this game. Guess right, that would have been incomplete. So maybe Nathan's figuring out Paul's patterns on defense. Short pattern to Gronk, double covered. Maybe not. And there's a sack and there's a fumble. The ball is stripped and the Chargers have it. They will not advance it. They don't want to risk fumbling it back. And that was, again, Clinton McDonald against Larry Warford, 24% chance of a sack. We saw that happen, and he got it in the first half. He gets it again here, and he turns the ball over. Robert Ayers recovers it, and the Chargers looked like they were losing a little bit of traction there as the Rams were picking up first down after first down. Now they'll have to defend for their life again. Will you see Paul go conservative here, trying to get at least another field goal to make it a 16-point lead? Still 2 scores, but 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions is tough. And there's only 18 minutes left in the game. Quick into Cameron Brate. There's a 6th rated linebacker there. He's going to make a stop. Linebacker in zone +1 or +6. Let's take a look at that ball possession. That was the Rams' longest drive of the game. 7 plays, 41 yards, but it ended on a fumble. So 3 and outs just about the entire game. Sometimes they had a 6 and out, 5 and out, 4 and out. But besides that, it was a punt after every possession, and now it's a fumble. Run to Jordy Nelson against a curl to Jordy Nelson against a run call, and Flacco hits it. Guessed right would have been incomplete. Guessed wrong, 16 yards, and now they're easily in field goal range, looking for more. So Paul does not go conservative. He's like, go big or go home. I'm getting to the Super Bowl. I'm going to take on the Cowboys, and I'm going to win it all and be the champion of S28. Well, maybe so. Still a long way to go in this one. We saw Nathan get a red zone turnover here. That's exactly what he needs now. Off tackle right to McCoy. Guess wrong. There's some big numbers there. +11, +21 as he had moved the 6th rated inside linebacker over, thinking he was going to a flat pass out to that side. And McCoy picks up another first down, and it's 1st and goal at the 2. Now it's going to be pounded in time. And it's going to be a steep uphill climb for the Rams, as they're going to be down 20 or 21 to nothing, possibly 19 if he goes for 2 and misses it. I would go for 2, even though it's the third quarter. Of course, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Inside run to David Johnson. Guessed wrong, touchdown. So there it is. I would go for 2 here, just to make it a 3 touchdown, 3 extra point lead. Let's see what Paul does. He might play it conservative and just go by the chart, which says you don't go for 2 until the fourth quarter, and he does. So the kick's up and good, but when you got LaShawn McCoy, you got David Johnson, you got Flacco's guest wrong short pass guard, I might be in the mood to go for it. But either way, the Chargers are up 20-0. It's time, as Red said in Shawshank Redemption, you got to get busy living or get busy dying, or something like that, because Nathan needs a touchdown drive in the worst way right now. as good as Prescott is, I don't think the deep passing column is his best column, and it rarely is for a rookie. He goes for a pitch out right to Lamar Miller, offensive onside tackle, +5 or 0, and doesn't get it. His long passing guard, you only have 4 hits guessed right, plus the must run columns. So he's more, you want to get people guessing run and throwing short. He does have 9 and 10 added in when you're guessed wrong on a long pass. Pitch out right to Lamar Miller, the dreaded 5. Goodness gracious. Lamar Miller, 13 runs for 32 yards. We saw this in yesterday's game where Spencer Ware just could not get going. And that seems to be the problem with Lamar Miller. He just can't hit any of those short gains. He's got a lot of them. He's got a lot of big numbers. Just not hitting any. 3rd and 10. Fly to Beckham. Nobody's in the zone. It's a dump off for 10 yards. Covered by a 4. Nobody in the zone. Second high linebacker was the reading. There's no chance for a pass rush since no linebackers were going. Short pattern to Gronk. Guessed wrong on Dak's card. Guessed right. So because he has the big lead, Paul is not having to pay any attention to Lamar Miller. And despite running guessed wrong, Lamar Miller isn't doing anything, which means that Prescott's going to have to complete his passes guessed right. Can't go 3-3-5 here, Paul. But I'm not going to say anything. It's between the coaches. Maybe Nathan is happy with him because he'll run against that 0 nose tackle. But this is inside right, and he does do exactly that. Even with that, he can't catch a break. Offensive left guard +6 or +1. I always feel like it's not the commissioner's place to jump in during a game and point out rule violations. So if you have any doubt about that, you're the opposing coach, you see somebody do that wrong formation, you need to say something. No 3-3-5 here. Unless there's a clause for having a huge lead, I don't think there is. We just use the standard for SOMIFA rules as much as possible. 3rd and 9. Short pattern to Gronk, double covered, but really not double covered because Lorenzo Alexander was coming on a blitz. So it was just the cover was shifted over. And they'll have to punt again. Boy, oh boy, the Chargers are just having a great time on defense. 20-0, and they have the ball with 13 minutes to go in the game.
Hey, Dennis.
Hey, how's it going?
Up 15 in the 4th quarter. You can go 3.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that. I know that there is some exceptions in our league, but it's so rare that I even have a 15-point lead, and I think about going 3-3-5. That's a good point.
I'm always down 15. So
yeah. you're like, you can't wait till they go 3 wide so you can run it up the gut. So it's a short game by McCoy. Guessed wrong. What do you think here? I mean, Nathan's really on the horns of a dilemma. He's got such a great running back, Paul does, in McCoy. But if he goes after him with run calls, Flacco's lighting it up.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, that's just genius by Paul. I tried to do that in a Battle Royale season once. I think it was an old one. I had Plunkett. He had a great short pass wrong. His right columns weren't that good, so I got a great line and great running backs, and it just didn't work out. I was out called, but I mean that philosophy. I love having a strong running game and looking for you can get one of those good guess wrong quarterbacks pretty deep in a draft.
Yeah, we saw McCoy bust out a 24-yard run there, guessed wrong, and now a 5-yard run, guessed right. So even when you do call run, and he flooded the flats there, he's still able to move the chains. And he doesn't have a great offensive run blocking line either. It's just McCoy. He's just doing it on the back of McCoy's card. He's averaging 9 yards a carry so far today. So I don't think Nathan has any problems with that. He knew that he was going to face a good offense. I think what's frustrating Nathan is he can't move the ball against all those 4s.
Yeah, and then that's always frustrating. I mean, he's got that running back, like you said. It's a little bit chunky, but it's a good card. And if you can't hit those short, if you're going second, third, and long all the time, you're going to struggle. And it's frustrating to not hit those zeros and fours on a D line.
Yeah, it's frustrating for me because I keep thinking if I had beaten Bradley on that last second field goal that went through, I could have taken out the number 1 seed in Dallas, and I'd be playing in the championship against Paul and all those fours. But everybody thinks that way. Oh, that was a big pickup there. Guessed right. Rolled a 10 on 3rd and 6, so now he's in field goal range, and that was Nathan's last chance. Really, was to stop him, have him miss a field goal, and then be able to get touchdowns on his last 3 drives of the game. If Paul gets in the end zone here, it is definitely over. I'm calling it. Even with a field goal, you need those extra 2-point conversions. It makes it tough.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I've been on the other end. I've been on Nathan's side quite a bit in the last couple of years, and when you just can't get anything going, it kills you.
Yeah, you almost want to, spread them out and either go run it up the gut or go off tackle or shoot for the flats, because there's just force everywhere. But no matter what Nathan's done, it's always landed on a good roll for Paul. Just like that time, he was trying to shut down McCoy, left the flats open, and Flacco took advantage. Pitch out left to McCoy, guess right, on 2nd and 1, but he gets the block from his 4-rated offensive onside guard, Alex Boone. So when he needs a 4, he gets exactly a 4. If he needs a 4,
I mean, I mean, Paul's coaching a great game, but Nathan is probably along, with what Dale just did for 1 season, but Nathan's probably the best there is at 3 wide and 4 wide. And if he can't move the ball doing that, then it's just not his day.
Yeah, it happens in Strat sometimes, but I did not think this would be. I thought this would have been a close game no matter who won, but it's been all San Diego. 5-yard run, guessed right. It's 2nd and goal to 2. So we're down to, and how do you stop a team that has LaShawn McCoy and David Johnson from the 2-yard line? I mean, pick your poison. You're gonna have to key one of these guys, and you're gonna have to be right. And then Paul always has a chance to just throw it short with Flacco's card, which is outstanding.
Yeah.
Guessed wrong.
Even if you key right, then you get the defensive card with 5s and a full house. So I mean, geez.
So he does key David Johnson, but he runs a sneak to Flacco. Everything's just coming up roses for the Chargers. They don't even worry about the 2-point conversion and make it 4 touchdowns. They just are happy to just keep rolling and keep racking up the points. We missed the kickoff there, but it was obviously a touchback. So 27-0, 7:48 to go in the game. You need 4 touchdowns. Paul can go 3 wide now, as already established, thanks to Dan on the reminder of the rules because of the 15-point differential in the score. He's still running the ball, and look at that, another run for negative yardage for Lamar Miller. Jeez, oh Pete, oh my stars and garters. This is just, going from bad to worse for the Rams. The game's in San Diego. The fans are going wild. They know the team is moving to Los Angeles next year to compete against those Rams in the marketing campaign. But for now, it's all Chargers, folks. Chargers against the boys in the Super Bowl. Let's talk about that for a minute, since this is just going to be going through the motions. Who do you like in that one, Dan?
I mean, Paul's got a really good team. And I was looking at Dallas. I just caught a glance of Dallas in the last game. So I'll take a look at their team again.
He's got Matt Ryan against all those 4s.
That's what it is.
Yeah, he's got – there's a sack fumble. It seems fitting in this one. Lorenzo Alexander's been a beast.
He's got Ryan with all those 7s, but he's got a not very good running game. I was thinking about trading for Freeman in SSFA, and I looked at his card, and it really, believe it or not, wasn't that much better than Jeremy Hill's.
Right.
Dallas run game. I mean, but you gotta.
But he does the same. Yeah, he does the same thing that we've seen Dale Ripley do in SOMIFA. He'll spread them out, go 3 wide, and run it with Freeman. So you get a little bit of chunk runs in the middle on the defensive card.
Yep.
But with all those 7 pass blockers, he's just got built-in offense either on the dump off or on Ryan's guest right card. So that's going to be a good one. One thing I will say is that Joe is still learning the game. I saw a couple things that he did in his earlier games where maybe not quite have the understanding of the rules that Paul, of course, has mastered. I think this is only Joe's first or second year playing online. And he was a board game player, but he put together one hell of a team, had a great regular season, and he's 1 game away from a championship.
Well, and he's got all 4s at linebacker on defense, and he's got 1-4 at cornerback. So, I mean, Flacco's flat pass is pretty good. So, I mean, and with that run game, Paul might be able to do something by keeping Ryan off the field if he can.
Yeah, I think that one could definitely go either way. I kind of think it will be a shootout because both teams will be back to average, and both those offenses will have holes to shoot at. So maybe whoever has the ball last will win that one.
Yeah, and Paul's such a good play caller on offense that with those receivers, I mean Olsen, Nelson, and Jeffrey, with all those receiver hits on an average D card, 19 and 3 with 3 in the zone, and I mean, geez, he's got a better balanced offense. I think. I don't know. I guess Flacco as a quarterback and Freeman as a running back are kind of cross each other off, I guess.
Yeah. It's interesting. They're two. I think the biggest difference you might see is the ability to get dump offs, as opposed to Paul's offensive line, which doesn't have quite that strength. So,
though with Fairley, Ayers, Alexander, you can free safety blitz your brains out. Go figure. I would say that. And with that, even with 7s, you can get by a line safety blitzing and bring in some linebackers.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of that in spring fever because my team is not good. It's got 2-4 corners, but I don't think you'll see an extreme strategy like that from a newer coach. That's something that you learn and get comfortable with as you understand the risks and rewards of it. So yes,
this is all going after Matt Ryan is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see Paul doing that.
And you know what else? Tom questioned this at SSFA and SOMIFA rather, and I didn't make the playoffs, so go figure with that. But when you play, he's got a 4-3. Never mind. I thought Paul was a 3-4 because when you play a 3-4,
Paul,
you go to a 4-5.
Yeah, Paul's a 4-3, but he'll bring in Fairley as the nose tackle because that's 7 nose tackles, nice.
Yep, that's great. So I think our game plan just have to. You did that once. I'm gonna freak out that I remember. But you had an AFC North team once in USSFL when you lost Seattle for a year. It was Houston you took.
Yeah.
And you're gonna remember. This is what got me into blitzing. By the way, seriously, it was you. You almost beat one of those stat Indianapolis Peyton Manning all 7 block lines. And you lost a close game, but you sacked him about 7 or 8 times. And that's when I started looking at the sack charts and realized that even with 7s, if you have 8s and 9s on the line and a 12 at linebacker, and you bring everybody every once in a while, that 7 column's not that intimidating on a free safety blitz.
Yeah, that might have been before they changed the rule and adjusted it so blitzing is not quite as strong as it used to be. But man, before they made that rule, man, you could just bring everybody every play and go to town.
I think it was after that. I think you did that anyway. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't surprise me. I like to take chances, as you know. So it looks like we're going to have 3 knees and moving on to the Super Bowl. So kind of a shock. I mean, a little bit of a shock, at least to me, that it wasn't at least closer. And Paul's got to be really happy with getting this team to the Super Bowl. I think Paul was surprised that he went through 13-3 with them, because they do have so many holes on defense. I mean, he didn't take a defensive player, I think, until, I don't know, the second half of the first 10 rounds, at least. Maybe not even until like round 10 or so, because then he was like scrambling to find fours that were left. He loaded up on offense and saved the defense till the end, and it's working out. So I don't know. This is pretty fun. I mean, if you think about where we started with this league as just an idea back in August or July, to have it complete successfully the regular season and now the playoffs, we have one more game left. Pretty cool that we were able to build our teams just like that.
It was. I lost you for a second, Dennis. My daughter called, so if you were asking me a question.
No, just talking about how Paul, I don't think he expected to be here. I mean, yes, he's got one heck of an offense, but I think he had mentioned to me earlier that he was surprised that he won 13 games. So he's a game, when you have a team full of fours, I had a team full of fours too and did pretty well, but you're really not expecting it. You're expecting to get beat deep. And Nathan had some chances. A lot of throws where either the four didn't come into play or the four made the play. But yeah, I don't think I've seen Nathan ever have a game like that where he just punted the first 10 or 11 possessions. Let's take a look at it.
If you look at Paul's statistics, I'm looking at his regular season statistics right now, and here's why he went 13-3. It's because he has these running backs, McCoy and Johnson, who I think people overcompensated and called too much run. Flacco completed 70% of his passes, Dennis. And,
wow.
And this is in the first 14 games, not the season. He was at 70% in the first 14. He threw 480 times and only ran 330. That's a pretty big imbalance. So I think people were so afraid of McCoy and Johnson and not afraid of Flacco that guess wrong column, which people really don't know that Flacco is really high in the set in that guess wrong column. And if you look at his receivers, this is through 14 because I didn't update the last file. Olsen had 78 catches, Brait 74, Nelson 70.
Yeah, I have it. I have it up on my screen here if you see it. So he did finish with 70%. Greg Olsen had 96 catches for 1,100 yards. Brait 84 for 828. Nelson 76 for 849. So yeah, you're right, absolutely right about that. And I played Paul in the regular season, and you know me, I don't care about those running backs as much. I did a lot of pass calling. I did a lot of blitzing. And even though I didn't sack Flacco, McCoy, even running guess wrong, he averaged 6.2 per carry, but he only got 117 yards because he kept throwing the ball, and I held Flacco to only, it's under 60%. Although he did hit me for a couple of big passes, but I got a couple of picks on double teams, and I was able to take him out. But I think you're right. If I've had games like that where I'm so concerned about the running backs and I get out of my style of calling pass a lot, and that can really burn you. Get those guessed wrong receiver readings or guessed wrong on Flacco's card can have a big impact. Yeah,
and if you look, I mean, Paul's probably going to say Stan, although, my analysis hasn't been very good lately. But, I mean, if you look at Dallas's defensive line, you're talking 6-6-4-5. So they have 1-4 on the defensive line. So if you do what you said, and with a 4-3 card, that's better against the run, even with no linebackers in there. So if he can lean on his defensive line and take away that pass that Paul's been using guessed wrong the whole season, might be a beneficial strategy for Dallas.
Here, this was the regular season game between Paul and Nathan, and I kind of expected something like this. The Rams won on a last-second field goal by Zerline. You had Tyreek Hill have a return in there, but there was a lot of sacks. Dak got sacked 5 times. Again, that man, Lorenzo Alexander, got one of them at least, but maybe more than that because it looks like might have had one reassigned. But
Lamar Miller in there.
Right. Look at that. 183 yards with a long of 45. So that's what Lamar Miller can do when he's on. And he did not get a sniff of that today. Paul had to get two. He got 2 returns for touchdowns, one by Cordell Patterson and one by Tyreek Hill on a punt, one on a kick, and he was able to barely lose. Whereas this time he had no returns for a touchdown. But when you have a game where you punt 9 times in a row or 9 out of 11 times, that's you don't need to worry about getting help from the return game.
Well, and if you look, Nathan had that 180+ yards from Miller. He also had a 73-yard touchdown to Gronk and a 38-yard touchdown to Beckham. So,
right. So he hit those long defender X rolls.
He made some good calls that game. Who knows if that was guessed right, but he made some good calls that game. And like I said, Nathan. I mean, Jesus, Nathan and Paul are both top 10, if not top 5, online players. So This is just games for Nathan.
Yeah, you hate to have it happen in the playoffs, but
I'm used to it, so I don't feel for him too much. But
there you go.
I give you a list of mine. I'm Marvin Lewis. So
I hear you. Well, it was a good game. It was enjoyable to call, and I'm glad we got it recorded. And thanks for the post-game chat, Dan. And we'll catch up with you down the line. I'll have the Super Bowl files out in a little bit. And good luck to both coaches.
Thanks, Kamish.
All right, well, shutting it down.